Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Relatable Radio Hour with me, Dr. Green. Thank you so very much for joining. Tonight, we have a familiar face with us again, visiting. We were able to speak with him last year, and it's going to be a great conversation because we talked about some really important things as it relates to goals and things that he was wanting to do. He has some great follow-ups that I think you're going to be really excited to hear about, but we'll get to that in a second. But right now in this season, I know a lot of people are looking to set goals for themselves, to push forward in this new season, to do different things, and to challenge themselves and just to go towards a different path on things, which is always great. I'm always a firm believer in that, especially as a life coach. That's what I do with my clients and helping them just to stay on task with those things. But I always think that it's great to get, actual examples of what it looks like to live and breathe through your goals and work through those challenges with people who are doing it and have been consistent with it. And tonight's guest is no stranger to that by any means of the word. I want to welcome back to you all a really good friend of mine, Mr. Joseph Handy. Joe, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you back, man. I mean, you have just been doing some amazing, amazing things. And I know people recognize you from being here last year sometime.
Mhm.
But kind of tell the audience a little bit about yourself and, also what's brought you back to the show tonight.
All right, so I am a real estate investor, father, and I was a educator for a long time, but I recently have left that field. So now I'm full-time uh, real estate. I'm still in the military as well. So traveling and performing with the 41st Army Band here in Jackson, Mississippi. And yeah, so I'm just these days focusing on keeping up with my rental properties, still developing the business and expanding into the short-term rental phase of what we're doing here. So that's actually going very well, and just continue to move forward with the business. And also, I'm a family man. Got 3 kids now. Last time we spoke, I only had two, so I have
Right.
three. And life these days is very busy, but I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it, enjoying the time with my family, bringing up the next generation and also setting up that legacy, which is a big part of my goal setting, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, but I'm very excited about diving into that, and we can get into some of the details here.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, one of the things that we talked about last time was, how you were, working in the school system as a band director and, just being able to multitask that world plus, the real estate side of the business that you work with. And now that you don't have that, I mean, I'm sure that has opened up a lot of opportunities since you've, transitioned out of that. But talk to us a little bit about that transition from going out of education into going into real estate, full stream ahead, because I can imagine, being in education as long as you were, it wasn't as easy to transition from it, or maybe it was. Maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but just talk to us about how that transition was for you getting out of that education space and then going full time with the business.
Man, that's it was a little harder to do to transition than I thought it was going to be. Because I've been doing both things for about the past 7 years now.
Hmm.
Where I was basically working a teaching job during the day, 40 hours a week, or a lot of times some more than that, 50 or 60 hours a week, just because of the nature of being a band director, right? So I just kind of got in that routine, waking up early, just kind of rushing to get to work, and just getting into that classroom setting, right?
Yeah.
And now I wake up, and to a certain extent, I wake up, I get to have breakfast with the family every day, take my son to school. We just got him in a pre-K program,
Hmm.
and I just get to spend quality time with the family in the morning and just kind of start my day on my terms, right? That's like the most important thing to me. But then now the challenge came in where now that I am not having to be somewhere at a specific time doing these things, now I'm having to be a little bit more structured within my day, and I'm having to like, plan that out because it's very easy to get distracted when you got, babies running around over here and there, and got my baby Journey hollering at daddy to come and get her, and she wants to be held all day. So, trying to still get that family time in, but also giving the business the attention that it needs as well. Because we're still actively expanding. I'm still buying more properties. We got projects going on. So just trying to manage that time and make sure that, the priorities are still being met on the business side. Because, man, I'm a dad, the babies are only babies for a short window, right? So I'm
Yeah,
trying to get as much time in with them as I can, but at the same time, also giving my other baby, the business,
right.
it's necessary time as well. So, but every day I'm figuring out ways to be more efficient in that, just really planning out my day and setting up my calendar and my schedule and getting that to-do list knocked out. So,
Yeah.
but just the freedom that comes along with just being able to make those decisions. Because as I explained the last time we spoke about this subject, it was like a 5-year goal. I put some plans in place in order to be able to replace the teacher's salary. And it didn't take 5, it took me like 6 years to get it done. Um, but long story short, it worked out like I wanted to. It's just every day just putting one foot in front of the other to meet those goals and to replace that income, because I had to have a certain amount of properties to do so. And once that goal was accomplished, I was out of there, and
Mhm.
it's going great, man. I'm really enjoying the freedom of my time these days.
Yeah, and there's nothing that could replace like that freedom and that availability to spend time with your family, and not only that, but just the freedom to prioritize the day as you want to do it. It's nothing like it. It's a great feeling to be able to do that. So I'm glad that you mentioned. I really wanted you to mention that transition period of getting out of education and then going full time because I know a lot of people kind of are afraid about transitioning into something new, especially being a business owner.
Mhm.
But it takes kind of having your footing in the business to kind of solidify your path moving forward. Um, Talk to us a little bit about the feelings that you had taking that leap of saying, all right, here I go. I'm about to do this full time. Let's see how this goes. Like, talk to us about the inner thoughts that you had going towards it and how you handled it. You essentially went for it and did it.
Yeah, so when I got that last check from the teaching job, which was back in July of 24, and I was like, okay, it's the real deal now. Like
Yeah.
those checks aren't coming in. I've been getting that check consistently every month for the past 17 years. So you can only imagine, you know, what that's like to for that first month to not get it. Like, oh man, okay. It was a slight kick in the gut.
Yeah.
You like, of course, seeing that consistent money hitting your account, but my real estate income has, been doing very well. As a matter of fact, since we started this new model of increasing the short-term rental units that we have, it's kind of really skyrocketed our cash flow from the business. So, just setting those things up and kind of having a plan in place and also seeing that plan and those, um, goals and stuff coming into fruition, it put me at ease about the transition. But I also, me being the main breadwinner in my family, right? You kind of do have those doubts going on in the background. Like, okay, is this the right move? Is this the path that I should take? Is this decision going to affect my family in a negative way? And once maybe about the first month or so, where I wasn't getting that check, where, things were not as, structured as it's been for the past 17 years. The first month was difficult, and then each month after that, it got more and more easy, you know what I'm saying, and less mentally taxing on me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
but once I got past that initial period, man, it's like great,
Mm-hmm.
because although I don't get a chance to sleep in, what I'm saying, with three kids under four,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't necessarily get a chance to just wake up when I feel like it. But when I wake up, I don't feel rushed. I don't feel like, I am um, missing out on anything. It's just, it's great, man. So that transitional period, although a little, because it was more so just a mental thing, what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
just in my head. But the business is doing what it's supposed to do. We haven't missed a beat. As a matter of fact, I'm doing much better because now I get to allocate my time to the things that
Right.
are a better use of my time, both family wise and financially. So now I can go and I can check on my rehabs and I can manage those a little bit more efficiently because I'm there on site. I'm, talking to the contractors. I'm not having to like, stop, in the middle of a class or, what I'm saying, whatever, or to shoot a quick text message or whatever. Like, it's like, no, I'm in your face. We're talking about it. This is the problem with the rehab. This is the solution. Bam, let's make it happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the efficiencies in my business has increased and so far so good. So I'm looking to add a few more goals to the list as far as continuing to develop the business. And I don't know if I shared with this you before, like, outside in some other conversations, but I'm actually looking to transition into new development. So building
Yeah.
houses from the ground up.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, man, I recently had this conversation with someone. What's we got a classmate, Jasmine. What's her last? Well, what's her maiden name?
Martin.
Martin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jasmine Martin, right? So when we were in high school, um, I remember we went to her house for something, and then somebody was like, "Hey, man, let's." She lives over here on Jasmine Court. I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Huh, Jasmine Court."
Yeah.
And then I spoke to her like, so is that a coincidence? And she was like, no, it's not. My dad built this
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my
Mm-hmm.
dad bought the land, got it subdivided, built the houses in here, and named the streets after us, the kids. I was like, man, that is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, ever since then, that kind of stuck out in my head. So I do have a goal to do that, at some point. So I'm gonna start off with just kind of building some single family houses or some like small multi-families, and then eventually kind of graduating up into doing some subdivisions. So that's like a long-term goal of mine that I have, and I've already kind of started the research on how to get that done. I've been networking with some other builders and contractors and things just to kind of pick their brains about the process. Um, so yeah, that's kind of something that I have. I'm currently like conjuring up and formulating in my mind to make it happen. So
Yeah.
so yeah.
Big shout out to Jasmine. Martin Smith. It's Smith
Smith,
now.
right?
A
Matter of
big
fact, I
shout
just
out.
saw them the other day.
Yeah, a big
Uh,
shout out to them for, well, her for, kind of sparking that in you even back in that time to think about, how you could do the very same thing, years later. So that is full circle. It's a full circle moment. So,
mhm.
yes, you did mention to me the development, but I'm glad that you shared it, on this platform. It sounds like you being in your full element, you don't have to worry about the education anymore. You're fully invested now in real estate. You're
Mhm.
able to really kind of spread your wings and really grow into it. I know that was a gradual process and you kind of just spoke to it, month to month. When would you say out of the first, I don't know, first few months or so, when was it where you finally felt, all right, I made the right decision?
Oh man, probably. Hmm. So, when my son had a event at school,
Hmm.
he had an event at school where it was for Thanksgiving, as a matter of fact. It was like the turkey trot. So basically, it was like kind of like a field day at their school, right?
Yeah.
And the kids basically they got a race. So, each grade, they just line up on a big line. They on the football field and they race, what I'm saying, to the finish line. And, I was there, I was engaged, I was, kind of, I was focused on family, right? I didn't
Hmm.
have to worry about, taking off work. I didn't have to worry about, just obligations from an employer. It was like, okay, my son has this, I'm going. And I did. And it was just a great time to be with family, uh and being able to focus on that time with them. Right. So that's and my son won the race. He got the first place
Oh, awesome.
medal. And even I got out there, the dads got out there. We had a little race too. I didn't get first. I got second though.
Okay, okay. Well,
I
that,
didn't,
that
I
makes
didn't feel
sense.
too bad about that
Yeah.
being a 42-year-old man and I'm racing
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
20-year-olds.
That's not too bad at all. I'll give that to you, Joseph. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was like kind of an eye-opening moment for me. It's like,
Yeah, I could see that. Because I mean, yeah, in the past you would have had to take off work and make sure
mhm,
everything was, okay for you to leave. But, at that point, you were the head honcho of your time and your energy, so you could do what you wanted to do, and you spent it the way that you wanted to, and that is great. So, talk
mhm,
to us a little bit more about these goals that you have. Well, first off, let me go back for a second. When we talked the last time, we specifically kind of threw out the whole SMART goals thing, and we went through that whole gamut of what it is and how it's, really worked well for you.
mhm.
And you talked in great detail about all of that. You had some goals at that point when we talked last year. You brought them into that particular year. You accomplished them. Let's talk about the goals that you can remember at this point at that time that you had that you actually checked off the list and talk to us a little bit about the ones that you're currently kind of formulating. You kind of mentioned a few, but
Mhm.
that you're looking forward to accomplishing this time around.
Okay. So, some of the things that I actually have accomplished since we talked, one of the goal was to replace my teaching salary
Of
and
course.
transition
Yes.
over
Yeah.
into full-time real estate. So that goal, check.
Check.
I did a long time ago, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, I said I wanted to have 3 kids. Well, we did that. So, now check. Um,
Hmm.
and I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, those two were the two biggest things that I was trying to do, just trying to get some of my personal time back. Um, and that was, pretty much it. So it was mainly business goals and family goals. And had a couple of other things, like, musically wise, because I had a goal to record, an album. and saying, which my band that I play with, Southern Comfort Brass Band, we recorded an album not too long ago. And I mean, yeah, I mean that was pretty much it. So being able to transition to full-time real estate, replacing my income, family goals with, having another child. And yeah, I mean, it has all come to fruition. So yeah, and moving forward, I have some income goals that I'm trying to meet because although we're able to live pretty comfortable at this point, I'm still working on setting up that legacy for the kids. I tell you one goal that I do have. Let's see, I wanted to accomplish this by age 45, and that was to be completely consumer debt free. House
Mm.
paid off, all vehicles paid off, student loans, everything. Well, I don't know if I shared this with you, but all of my student loans are paid off now. So yeah, that's like a huge
Huge.
accomplishment. And
It's huge.
I know you shared with me that you had you were able to get those paid off as well. And I got a
Absolutely.
few other friends that were able to take care of that Joe Biden
Oh yeah.
student loan relief
Yeah,
program.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So although mine was not as large as some people that I know, it's still great to have that burden from
Oh my gosh, yes.
over my
Yes.
head, right?
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, so I want to have my house paid off, say all consumer debt, and I just want to have, you know, just very low overhead when it comes to, living and maintenance. I mean, because
Hmm.
a lot of people, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people can't retire when they want to, because
Hmm.
they have like a huge house note just hanging over their head, or they got these, expensive luxury cars over here with, a ridiculous note on it that has to be paid every month. And I really want to get to the point to where I don't have like any of that to worry about. And my overhead is so low that all of the money that I bring in can just, be saved and reinvested and, just continue to grow the business and the legacy for my family. So
Hmm.
that's like a long-term thing that I have going on. And I said by the time I hit 45, I'm 42 now. So I got 3 years to make it happen. I think
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that financial freedom goes a long way.
Yes.
It really, really is just a breath of fresh air to have that. And I think that's totally attainable for you. It sounds like the trajectory you're going, you'll definitely, hit that for sure. Um, Now, and I know that you also, talked about some, the challenges that are, within the real estate world that you've, kind of learned and grew from, and just kind of been able to kind of, handle a little bit more. Since you're in it now, full throttle, I was curious, are those challenges still the same at this point, or are you able to kind of handle them a little bit better now that you have the freedom and the structure to kind of be there and just kind of be on site now?
The challenges have maybe kind of evolved a little bit,
Okay,
because I can't remember exactly which challenges we talked about in the past. I know a lot of it has to do with like time management and being able to be efficient with my time.
for sure.
Um,
And I think that's
but
that's where you mainly focused on is with those things.
mhm. Yeah. So with that being said, that's still kind of an issue, just because it's only 24 hours in a day. And then
Right.
as the business expands, the business requires more of my time. If I got
Hmm.
2 or 3 renovations going on at one time, I can't be in 2 or 3 different places at one time. Like each one
Right.
has to get its individual attention. And also, I don't want to take away from the time I spend with family, right? So here pretty soon, though, I'm going to be hiring an employee. Um, Part-time probably at first, saying as we continue to grow, that we may evolve that position into full-time. But I foresee that being something that happens in the very near future. I'm gonna say within the next 2 to 3 months, I will
Wow.
bring somebody on to, uh, take on that position. And hopefully it's somebody that I can like grow with and mold into, um, another real estate investor because I want our goals and our trajectories to be aligned with each other. So I know lately, um, and I'm gonna give a little bit more about a goal that I had. And actually, me and you talked about it at the end of 2024. Well, I guess kind of mid 2024. I told you I wanted to start a real estate meetup.
Yes, I was gonna
Uh,
get to that, but yeah, go ahead and go into that. Yes.
Yeah, so long story short, I get a lot of people that see my content online that, see me out here moving and shaking and, doing things in that particular realm. And a lot of people are very interested about that particular field. So I said, hey, what's a way that I can, teach people about how to do this and still have a impact. I'm still to a certain extent I'm still teaching and educating people just in a different realm, right? So so with that being said, I set a goal to start up the meetup. I have been doing the meetup and it has been well attended. I've had some great feedback, and I think I'm putting some quality information out there to the people that are uh, wanting to pursue that particular field. Now, with me doing that, I get a lot of people that say, hey, can you mentor me? Saying, can you, just kind of show me the ropes in the business? And maybe one of those people might be the one that I might bring on as an employee. So because I know we both have similar interests
Right.
and we both, um, they're learning, and actually want to see and grow people in the real estate community. So hopefully I can bring them on. I can kind of train them up in the business. Maybe we can start eventually maybe doing some deals together, and I can help them to build their portfolio while they're also helping me to advance my business as well. So that's kind of what I would like to do um, with that in the near future is, get an employee and help somebody to take some of these tasks off my plate because man, it's starting to become a lot between.
Yeah, yeah, I can only imagine. And I mean, I think it's such a great idea to do the sessions that you've been doing with interested people who want to go into real estate. Uh, and I feel like I feel like I know the answer because I think you kind of said this, but is this kind of satisfying that educational side just in a different way with kind of doing these sessions?
Uh, yeah. It's with me coming from a background, I definitely enjoy seeing people like to see that light bulb come on, like, oh wow,
Right.
this is possible. These things, this is what we can do, and to see people, grow, whether they're growing musically or whether they're growing financially or saying whatever the case may be, like it definitely gives me a good feeling to see that I am making that type of impact on people in their lives, and so just in general, especially in the Black community, we don't really all the time grasp the concept of investing and investing not only financially, but investing in yourself. Whereas, you are cultivating your mind to expand your abilities, but also using your money to be able to grow and expand your influence on the world and the way that you can help your family and the people in your circle, right? Because I tell people all this all the time because a lot of people have that. I mean, this is just how we were taught growing up, go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and then you should be set until retirement.
That's right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But when you think about it, right, and the way that the financial system is today, most people have like some kind of, 401k plan or something like that that they invest in. or you got some kind of pension that you can tap into. And this was one of the things that kind of it was a light bulb moment for me, because I used to always hear my fellow employees at JPS, so Jackson Public Schools, and they would be like, "Man, I just can't wait to, retire so I can get this retirement pay and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay, so what does that actually mean from a numbers point of view, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So, and just I'm gonna just throw out some general numbers. It's not going to be very specific, but if you teach in JPS for, what I'm saying, 25, 30 years, right? I mean, the top salary that you'll max out at is going to be like around 60,000. I'm gonna just use some round numbers, what I'm saying, so it'll be a little bit easier for me to explain. But let's just say 60,000. So the way that our employment system or the retirement system works is you get 50% of the average of your highest 4 years. So let's just say that's
Mm-hmm.
60,000. So now you're retiring and you're making $30,000 a year, which is not a lot of money. Then you got to take out taxes. Then you got to take out insurance. That's just say you still got a house note. You still got car notes. You might have some kids in school. Man, a $30,000 retirement is that's not going to get
Mm-mm.
it. It's not going to be able to fund your lifestyle.
Right.
So don't focus on just that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool if you just want to teach 25 years. And yeah, I mean, $30,000 is better than nothing. However, you got to set up some other things, right? Use your money as a vehicle to take your financial abilities to the next level. And that's what I really try to, to encourage people to just think about, because a lot of them they just say retirement, but they don't even really actually know what that
Mm-hmm.
looks like. So just kind of going back to me, like educating and teaching people about this. These are the things that I try to encourage them to learn about, learn how to invest. Your money can work for you 24 hours a day. You can only work so many hours a day. A typical work day for a person is 8 hours. If we work, 10, 12 hours, we like beat, what I'm saying? We tired. But, while we sitting here having this conversation, guess what? I made some money.
Right.
Because my money is out there, little soldiers, working for
Right.
me, gaining additional soldiers, working to continue to build up my net worth, is continue to build up my wealth and my legacy and all of those various things. So if I can teach the next person how they can do that, so they can set themselves up for that financial freedom that we've been talking about, man, I just feel really, really good about that and setting them on the right path.
Yeah, that's such a great undertaking as well, because I mean, you're taking on one of the biggest challenges within the Black community, and it is typically money, that is so illy talked about and advised. What are some of the eye-opening, I don't know, questions or concerns that you're hearing when you have these sessions with the individuals who are, kind of learning from you in these spaces? What are some of the more eye-opening things you've heard?
Um, well, before I get on to that, let me harp on something that you just said, because in the Black community, like, we don't really just talk about money like that. We do not, and it could just be because a lot of people just are not financially savvy.
Hmm.
So because they feel like they're not savvy or knowledgeable enough, they don't, pass that information down, or at least, some information that they have to that next generation. And we hear it all the time, we'll hear adults that say, stay out of grown folks' business,
Hmm.
especially when they're talking about money. But no, like, they need to know about that, because like you said, like, one of the main downfalls of people in our society today is poor financial literacy. Know
Hmm.
how to budget. They don't know how to handle their money. They don't know how to invest. They don't know, for me, it's real simple. How much money do you have coming in? How much money is going out? The money coming in should be more. to what's going out, right?
What's going out?
Um, and of course, there's some nuances in that, but I have always, just been on top of that. I always made sure that I was spending less than I made, and I just tried to be a little bit more frugal. But man, you'll be surprised, since some people have no idea how to manage their money. They just live in paycheck to paycheck, and they just spend and spend. And they just hope they got something left at the end of the day. Um,
Ooh.
so yes, we need to normalize talking about money. So
Hmm.
parents sharing, okay, this is my salary. This is what my bills look like. This is what, if I have some investments, this is what this looks like. And come on, get in this grown folks business so you can understand.
Hmm.
Because, if we don't talk about it, if we don't, make it a part of their everyday vocabulary and their knowledge base, they're going to go out into the world and they're going to be lost. And
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So there's a learning curve associated with anything. And if parents can, or just people in general can help to shorten that learning curve to where we can be more financially responsible, we can be more financially prepared, then, I think us, and especially in the Black community in general, we'll be in a lot better place.
Oh
But,
yeah.
on that other subjects you're talking about, the things that people bring up, as far as, are you talking about just as far as real estate, like some of the things and questions and stuff that they ask me? um
Well, yeah, I mean, it could be real estate, it could be, investing, it could be anything, just anything that you kind of just be like, oh wow, that's an interesting thing that someone's brought up today.
oh, hmm that's a that's an interesting question. I'm trying to think, because I get a lot of questions asked, and I'm trying to remember, like, which ones particularly stand out.
Yeah, it's probably
um
so many that you can't even think of one right now. So
yeah, but I guess I'll say that, oh, um hmm,
let me ask you this then, while you are still thinking, would you
mhm.
say that a lot of the things that you just kind of mentioned as far as financial literacy, those are some things that come up in these sessions that are just kind of validating some of the stuff that you just said about how some people just don't know the importance of using money, spending money, um,
Mhm.
the concept of living on a paycheck. Is that something that you would say comes up pretty often?
Yeah, I mean, because, okay, well, one big question that I get from people is, how can I invest
Hmm.
with no money? What I'm
Oh.
saying? And that sometimes tell me that you don't have any money. That's not always the
Yeah,
case,
it's not always the case, but it's a
but
pretty big indicator,
most
I
of the
think.
time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
you are
yeah.
saying that, it's probably because you don't have money.
Right,
And so you're trying to figure out how you can make $2 out of 50 cents.
right.
And so, with that being said, I that right there is just, how can people do better with their savings and the managing of their finances. So they go hand in hand, because it's hard to invest money that you don't have. Now,
That's
there
right.
is a way to do that. And
Hmm.
actually, that's been like the main strategy that I have been using, uh, maybe the past 10 houses that I've bought. And there's a way, you can buy money. I'm sorry, buy houses, or,
Hmm.
saying real estate without using any of your own money.
Hmm.
But that came with, cultivating relationships, that came with, having experience, that came from, just knowing more in the business, right?
Yeah.
Um, because and I'll kind of dive into that a little bit. So the past 10 properties that I bought, I've been using a private lender, what I'm saying? So they lend the money to me to buy the house and also to renovate the house. So basically, I don't have to come out of pocket with,
Hmm.
anything, what I'm saying? So, like, for example, I just bought one in Ridgeland. I bought the house for 72,000. I had to
Hmm.
put about 15 into it to rehab it.
Hmm.
So that was what's that? 87,000,
Yep.
where I'm totally into the property. Well, that property, after it was appraised, it appraised for 156,000. You know what I'm saying? So I did a refinance on that property. I got a bank because the loan that I got from the private lender is a short-term loan. They only lent it to me for 6 months. So I had to buy it, rehab it, get it stabilized and producing cash flow. Then I had to refinance. And I refinanced. Not only did I refinance that property, but I was able to pull out a little extra money to put in my pocket, send some extra cash flow, right? And that was a no money deal, like, and I've done a lot of deals like that. Matter of fact, I just got a property under contract yesterday where not only did I get a great deal on it, I'm not even going to have to do a
Oh,
renovation
wow.
on it. It's already rehabbed, so it's going to be
Nice.
cash flowing like immediately with little to no work. But that just comes from having relationships with people, right? Saying knowing the business, and so I've learned how to move and to operate without having to use my own capital, just because of the experience that I have.
Hmm.
So just kind of, going back to your original question, I would say that's probably the main thing, right? Just people asking me, how can I do this business with no money?
Hmm.
And in this business, right? So you got to have three things in order to be successful. Well, there's three things you got to have, but you really only have to have two of them.
Okay.
So that's knowledge, hustle, or money. So you can have money and you can have hustle and you can make some things work. You know what I'm saying? You don't even necessarily have to have the knowledge per se. You can get with somebody who has the knowledge that can kind of walk you through it. Or you can have knowledge, you can have hustle, and you can find the money. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have to have all three things. But if you do have all three things, I'm talking about sky is the limit. Like if you know what you're doing, if you got the work ethic to make it happen, and then also you got the money to back what you're doing, oh man, like, you can you can do whatever. You can do whatever you want. But so when I first started out, I had a little bit of money. I might have had like $8,000 to $10,000 in the bank. But what I did have was a drive to learn the business. I had
Hmm.
a drive to hustle. You know what I'm saying? Get
Hmm.
out there, driving through these neighborhoods, going to
Hmm.
meetups, you know what I'm saying? Talking and networking with people, to, read all of the books and the information and
Hmm.
everything I need, listening to, thousands of podcasts or whatever,
Yeah.
to just kind of build up that foundational knowledge. And so when I did all of that, then the deals and the money just started to come.
Hmm.
And you know what I'm saying? Now I think I do have that trifecta. I do have, what I'm saying, all three of those resources to be able to continue to grow. So and I kind of share this in my meetings too, right? So if you can just get two of those three things, man, you can really make a big difference in your financial future. So invest in yourself through learning, have a good work ethic, what I'm saying, whether you feel motivated about it or not, be disciplined in your pursuit of what it is you're trying to do, and be smart with your money,
Hmm.
and make more money than you spend. And if you can master those things, man, you can do whatever you want in life.
Well, I thank you so much for sharing those three things because I think those are transferable skills, Joe. I mean, if you can have those three things and are still, achieving to accomplish something else, it seems like that'd be really good to have on your arsenal to
Absolutely.
accomplish any of those.
Hmm.
And you've definitely soaked yourself with a lot of knowledge, to be where you are in this field. Um, what would you say has been one of the most life-changing experiences that has helped you to get to where you are right now?
uh, um and I wouldn't necessarily attribute it to like just, well, no, actually I would. So I went through a divorce, some years back. And that probably was the thing that kind of shifted me to a different mentality and just way of thinking, you know what I'm saying, just in general. Because it was kind of eye-opening, you know. Of course, you don't get married with the intention of getting divorced. Like, you know, you want things to work out. And just kind of after I got divorced, and I don't know if I think I shared this with you, but I did go through like a maybe like a slight bout of depression for a while, you know, and I was just kind of lost as far as, you know, what do I do moving forward. Um, but you know, with that being said, I've never been one to just kind of wallow in my sorrows.
Hmm.
I'm always, you know, just thinking and strategizing about the next move, right? What do I need to do to put myself in a better position? And I think one thing that definitely helped me to overcome that situation was just I had to embrace self accountability.
Mm.
Um, and what I mean by that is that I had to, okay, look at my life. Okay, every all of my decisions that I have made up until this point have led me here. You know what I'm saying? I know one of the things that I was unhappy with was my financial position. I did not feel like I was where I wanted to be financially. And then also I wasn't where I wanted to be relationship wise, you know what I'm saying? Because I was, you know, I just got divorced, you know, and what decisions that I make that put me here. And I could, you know, blame, oh, well, such and such didn't pay me enough money because of this and that and this and that. And, or, you know, saying she did such and such, and that's the reason why we got divorced. Like I don't think that that's helpful,
Yeah.
right? When you're going through something in life, you got to look at the decisions that you made that put yourself in that position versus trying to look at what other people did to get you there because you know you can't control the actions, but you can most certainly control your actions, right? So at that time, going through that divorce, you know, I was like, okay, I don't like where I am financially, so what do I need to do? I started listening to finance podcasts. I started to read
Wow.
the books, you know. So I started to, I went to like a Dave Ramsey
Mm.
Financial Peace University, right? So I could get my finances in order. And then also when it came to like relationships and dealing with people, I started to read like, you know, self-help books that were kind of help me in some of the areas that I felt like I was deficient in. I would, you know, read books on relationships and, you know, saying how to deal with people and how to deal with difficult personalities. And, you know, saying what I could do differently in order to improve the relationships that I had with people. And I would say that that probably was the biggest turning point in my life. And once I did that, you know, I got more focused on the goals. I started writing my
Hmm.
goals down. I started, you know, daily, um, I guess, routines that helped me to reach those goals. I always looked at myself
Hmm.
versus looking at others and blaming others for my situation, right? Um, and you know, it's just like, man, it was just like a light bulb went off, and you know, my life just completely changed. And it was almost like that, you know what I'm saying? Um, and I don't know if you, I mean, you kind of remember, you know, me and like John and Jared, and you know, saying we used to all be playing video games and stuff, right?
Yeah.
We used to waste a lot of time playing damn games. So I was like, one day I was like, you know what, man, because I used in the summers, being a teacher, man, I get, you know, get off for the summer, and man, I might play Call of Duty for 6 hours out the day.
Hours, hours and hours.
I was like,
Yes.
you know what, this is not a productive use of my time.
Yeah.
So I turned the game off, and really, I haven't really played it. I stopped playing in like 2016. Man, I might have touched a game controller maybe 5 times since then. I can count them on one hand.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started to value the use of my time, and I started to see, okay, well, these things are not adding value to my life, and I need to make a change.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that divorce definitely kind of shifted me into a different mindset, a different path, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
although difficult stuff like that, it I'm not gonna say, never gonna say I was glad that that happened, but I am happy that it put some things in perspective for me, and it changed the trajectory of my life in a positive way.
Yeah. Seasons like that always, build you up for your next season. Going through it, you learn so many things and it propels you into your greatness, I think, going through those dark periods. So I really appreciate, first off, for you sharing that, the vulnerability to do that, but also just letting people know that, these dark seasons that we can be in are really kind of setting us up for the greatness that we're about to experience. And you've definitely sown the seeds of, that dark season to getting you into some much brighter and greater seasons. Because look where you are now. You've transformed, within the years that you've been involved with this, to the point now where, I mean, you're doing it full time, so well, in fact, that you are able to preach the gospel to other people who, can potentially be in the same space that you're in right now.
Mhm.
And I mean, you're continually checking off the list of goals left and right that are getting you to where you want to be. So I mean, I can't think of, anybody better to come on and kind of express the evolvement of the goal system.
Mhm.
No more than you, because I mean, you've literally lived it and you've breathed it, to this point. I'm wondering,
Yeah.
because sometimes we don't give ourselves credit. Do you take some time to just pat yourself on the back to where you've gotten, or do you consistently like see to yourself, okay, yeah, that's good, but now I want to move, sometimes we do that. We don't stop to say, I'm doing some great stuff. Let me just pat myself on the back, then, kind of move on. Or are you the one that never celebrates and is just continuously going and not, kind of noticing where you are and giving yourself that respect?
No, I'm pretty aware that what I have done in these past few years is pretty amazing, because I mean, I don't know many people that have acquired, I think as of today, 76 rental properties in the course of you know, what is it, 7-year period.
Hmm.
I mean, like just saying that out loud, I'm like, man, this is like it's almost mind blowing. Like I don't. So to be honest, um, I'm surprised that things have gone as well as they have. And so I look back at where I started versus where I am now, and I'm like, yeah, the hard work has paid off. I did a good job at, building what I set to build. And saying not necessarily being complacent in that, or, saying and getting too comfortable with it, because I do still want to uh continue to progress and to get better. Now I'm not trying to be like, some billionaire, with, all of these, real estate assets, but I'm working 80 hours a week. That's definitely not what I would consider to be a great lifestyle. But I will say that I do want to continue to grow, but I am very aware of, the things that I've done, and I just want to continue to make the best of the abilities that God has given me, and also to continue to use those skills and those resources and be a good steward over them in order to not only enhance my life, but also of the my loved ones and the people in my circle.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, I do acknowledge that I am doing pretty good, but I do want to continue to pursue the things that God has in store for me.
Yeah. You say you're surprised. I'm not because we talked about this before we started. The last time we talked, the one word that personifies you is determined. And, for you to be the determined person that you are, I'm not surprised at all that, you're where you are. So I don't know why you say that, but I'm definitely not surprised by that. But I understand what you're meaning. But you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. It sounds like this is where you're supposed to be, and everything that was going on in your life kind of led you to this moment. And I thank you again for sharing, all that you have been doing and all that you have been aspiring to do since we last spoke. Because I think this is a great reminder to everybody that's watching that, if you're consistent, if you're determined, if you have three of the resources that you mentioned, sky is the limit. You really can succeed in whatever capacity that you're wanting. And I just really appreciate you for just being the example for that very thing. So, Mr. Joseph Handy, thank you so very much, my friend, again for joining and just sharing your nuggets and just all your success with the show today and everybody that's listening and watching. If individuals wanted to follow you, how could they do so?
So I have a website, handybuyshouses.com. You can check me out on the major platforms, so Facebook, Instagram. Also, we got a TikTok as well. Although I don't know, I'm hearing TikTok may go away here pretty soon.
Might be gone, but y'all still
Well,
around.
we'll see how that works out. But yeah, you can check me out on those platforms, and I'm always posting videos and pictures of my current projects. And also, I have a meeting, the real estate meetup. Is coming up here at the Drury Inn and Suites on I-55 in Ridgeland. So if you want some more information about that, you can hit me up. I can send that to you. It's going to be this Saturday, January 18th from 12 to 2. So come check us out. We're going to be sharing plenty of information to give you a chance to network and get to know some of the other investors here in the Jackson metro area. And we would love to help you to build your real estate portfolio as well.
That's awesome. Awesome. So what's something that you're grateful for today?
Oh, I am grateful for hmm, my family. Just being a dad and being a involved and present father is something that I'm immensely grateful for because, man, like the experience of like holding your child in your hand and like giving her a kiss and
Hmm.
seeing her smile and I don't know if you saw my Facebook video where she was like, talking to me in her little baby language.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see
Uh, Man,
that.
so man, those experiences, right? It's just amazing. Like going to see my son win the turkey trot and my little girl, with her singing and her dancing and all of that stuff, right? Man, just those family experiences and just being able to spend time with my family and watch them to grow, and then also my beautiful wife who kind of keeps everything on track in the household and helps to keep me focused and centered and you know, challenging me where I need to be challenged, but also assisting me where I need to be assisted. And so I appreciate her for that.
Hmm.
So, you
Yes.
know, thank you, Kiera. Uh,
Yes.
I appreciate you for all of that.
Big shout out to Kiara. She does a lot of the things that you forget to do sometimes, and
Yeah.
she's good at just helping you stay focused, as you said. You're exactly right. So big shout out to Kiara. Um, I would say today I'm just grateful to have flexibility because sometimes we take for granted things that we got to do, but it's sometimes in life when you don't have to do everything all the time. You can take some time away and just get back into it when you can. Sometimes we get a little convoluted with all the time issues and demands and stuff, but when you can just
Right.
kind of rail it in sometimes, it's cool to do that. So I'm grateful for that. So thanks
Awesome.
again, Joe, for joining. Really appreciate you being here tonight. And for everybody that's watching, please make sure that you are going to all my social media platforms. You can go to my website, go to YouTube, subscribe to the page. You can watch this episode and previous episodes as well. And join us again next week. We're going to have another amazing show, another amazing guest. I hope you all have a great evening. Have a great weekend.